Hello, guys. I hope you guys are having a wonderful time. So, I am going to be going over some of the more major terms and information for this unit for this week, just so that you guys have a little bit more information out there. So, this is a chart that I've put in your guys's Pearson, and this has got a lot of pretty major terms on it for understanding health and nutrition. So we're just going to go straight down this. We're going to talk about them, one at a time. But before we do that, I want to go over so this unit is about nutrients, this specific one. And nutrients have basically two main categories. There's macronutrients. Macro means big, so big nutrients, and then micronutrients or small nutrients. And the difference between them is macronutrients actually give you energy. And so there's three main types of macronutrients. There's our proteins, our fats, and our carbohydrates. And so, we've got little descriptors over here. And our protein, I'm sure you guys have heard that it helps us build muscle. So when you work out, when you do anything physically active, it helps you recover faster. It helps you recover stronger. So when we work out, we're actually tearing up all our muscles. And so we need protein to rebuild our muscles. So that's super, super important that we get protein. We can get it from any type of meat. We can also get it from tofu, beans and rice, nuts, seeds. There's a lot of different ways. Milk items, we can get them from there. There's a lot of different things on the MyPlate stuff that you guys will see later on. You guys can get protein from pretty much almost anywhere, but you might have to do some research on what actually has protein on it. But yeah, there's a ton of different ways we get protein. Fats, we're also going to talk about fats down here. Oh, sorry, about the protein. So there are 4 calories per gram. And a gram is actually a measurement of mass. And then, of course, mass turns into weight when it's on Earth. So that, if you guys are there in your science, there you go. So it's a term of mass, but, also weight. So protein and carbohydrates both have 4 calories per gram, and fat has 9 calories per gram. So fat has a lot of energy packed into it, so it can give us energy for a very long time. But we'll keep going over that. So fats, we are going to so fats give us energy for a very long time. So if we're hiking a mountain, we're hiking out all day. That's what we're going to be mainly using as fats. When we're just resting, we're studying, we're in school, about half of the energy that we use, half of our basal metabolic rate, comes from fats. The other half comes from carbohydrates, which is our next one. Carbohydrates give us short-term energy. So when we're playing sports, we're working out, we're doing anything for basically like less than 2 or 3 hours, then we're using carbohydrates. And so those have specific storage in our body. They actually, a lot of it gets stored in our muscles. It's not protein, but it does get stored in our muscles. Fun fact. But it is also 4 calories per gram. So again, less energy dense, which can be good or bad depending on what you're trying to do. And all of our carbohydrates, guys, actually come from plants. So when we are learning in science about photosynthesis and how photosynthesis is turning sunlight and water into sugar, that sugar is the carbohydrates, guys. So all of that sugar that we're getting from different plants is that carbohydrate. And so when we pack all those sugars together, that's when we get those big, goodness, I'm spacing on the term, but basically when we pack a whole bunch of sugars together, that's our carbohydrate. I'm not saying you should only eat sugar. That's not what I'm saying. But when you eat spaghetti comes from wheat. Bread comes from wheat. All of those are plants. And, wheat and carbohydrates have a lot of sugars connected to each other. And so they can give us a lot of energy. So these are 3 macronutrients. They give us all of our energy. Now, our micronutrients are our vitamins and minerals. And so these are, they do hundreds of different things for us, guys. That's why they're so important. That's why if you just eat like pizza and candy and things that are processed, things that aren't natural, things that aren't growing, then we don't get a lot of these. And it can be a really big problem. And in centuries past, when humans didn't know quite so much about nutrition, they actually had huge famines. Like people would eat and eat food, but they would still be dying, and it's because they weren't getting these vitamins and minerals that they needed. And so the way you can always make sure that you're getting enough vitamins and minerals is something called Eat the Rainbow. And you guys may have heard this before, but if you're eating all these different colors of fruits and vegetables, you will be able to get enough vitamins and minerals, and you won't have to worry about it too much. If you're eating the same thing every day, day in and day out, you might be missing something. So it's good to have variation when we're in what we're eating. And it's also good that we're making sure that we're eating whole grain foods, because those grains have a lot of those vitamins and minerals. They also has fiber, and it's important that we're just trying to eat as many veggies as we can. Veggies are super good for us. Fruit is super good for us because of how many vitamins and minerals they have. Water, pretty self-explanatory. We need it to live. It also does a ton of things for us, but yeah, basically, if you don't have water, you'll die really quick. So calories. So we're going back to our macro nutrients. So our macronutrients are proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. They give us energy. That energy is called calories. So when we're running around or even doing anything, even when you're sleeping, you're burning calories. And your base level, how fast your body burns calories, is called your basal metabolic rate, or your BMR. And I will quiz you on this later. So BMR, very, very important. So this is the energy that your body is using to move, function, think, everything. And then your metabolism is also called our basal metabolic rate. Those things are synonyms. They're very, very similar. And how fast your body turns food into fuel and uses those calories to move, think, and be active. All right. So basal metabolic rate and metabolism are the same thing. They're, scientifically, they're just like a hair different. There's just a couple differences, but really they are the same thing. Now let's go over fats. So we have unhealthy fats and healthy fats. Sorry, healthy and unhealthy. And there's this stigma, or this misconception actually, that if we have fats, it will make us fat. And that's just not true. We gain fat on our body from eating too many of these calories. And so we can gain too many calories from eating anything. It'd be proteins, fats, or carbohydrates. So we could eat nothing but, lean chicken and broccoli. But if we only burn, it would be very, very difficult to do. That's a lot. You would have to eat a lot of broccoli and a lot of chicken. But if we only ate, so if we burn, say, 2,000 calories a day, which is a very average amount for a human being to burn in a day, everyone's a little bit different depending on your body weight. Say you burn 2,000 calories a day, but you're eating 3,000 calories of chicken and broccoli, you can still gain fat. It's just from the amount of calories that determines if you're storing that energy as fat, or if you're burning it, or if you're losing those calories. So yeah, we as human beings, we like to store energy because our bodies still think of us as cavemen, and so they're still preparing us for famines and things like that. And our body doesn't want us to have a six pack, because having a six pack means that you don't have a lot of energy storage, and if food did run out, you would die very quickly. So our body likes to store energy for us, but we know that if we have too much body fat, then that can also be unhealthy for us. But yeah, so fat does not necessarily make us fat, guys. So the difference between the unhealthy fats and the healthy fats is the healthy fats actually clear out our arteries. So if we hear about heart attacks and things like that from unhealthy diets, healthy fats actually is kind of like flossing. It takes away all that cholesterol and things that could build up in our arteries and give us those heart attacks or strokes. But the unhealthy fats, they will build up. They do the opposite. They build up, and then when those break through, that's when you have a heart attack or a stroke. But the unhealthy fats prevent that from happening. And so there's, some pretty long words here: unsaturated fat, polyunsaturated fats, and monounsaturated fats. And over here on the unhealthy, we have saturated fats, trans fats, and fat found on animal meat. So the super easy way is unhealthy fats have short names and healthy fats have very long names. And so these unhealthy fats are actually liquid at room temperature. And so if you think about, if you open up your cabinet right now and you look at like canola oil or vegetable oil, those are fats, but they're healthy fats. Obviously, don't chug the whole thing of canola oil. You would have a very, very bad day. But that's more of those healthy fats. And our unhealthy fats are they're solid at room temperature. So if you ever have like a big ham or something like that, or you made a few hamburgers and you come back a little bit later when everything's cooled off, and there's that layer of just grease and that like white layer of fat on everything, that's that unhealthy fat. And so it's still there, but when it's hot, it's melted. But when it cools off, it's super solid. And so that's the type of fat that we really want to avoid because it can be super unhealthy for us. That can block up our arteries. Obviously, when it's liquid and we're eating ham and eating all this different stuff, it can taste really, really good. And in moderation, it's fine. But if we're having it every day, that can really start to affect our heart, which is not good. So our healthy fats, this is our big thing, is making sure that we're eating nuts, seeds, and you can also get it from other vegetables. So nuts and seeds, so almonds, cashews, peanuts. Obviously, don't eat anything that you're allergic to. And seeds, there's a lot of different types of seeds, like sunflower seeds, um, but those have really, really healthy fats in them. So that is the big information for your nutrition for this week, guys. Make sure you guys are reading those other instructional pages, and that'll help you out. But have a good one. I will see you later.